Live at lunch.
You are looking live.
Live at lunch. Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
What the hell's going on out here?
Now, here's Jimmy Ott and Charles Handegriff.
Yeah, for some reason or another, you sound a little taller on radio.
Is it live? Is it live? Is it live? Is it live?
From Dozy Place on Government Street in Mid-City. Welcome to the Tuesday edition Live at Lunch. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Charles Handegriff, Jimmy Ott, Max Gotro. Jordan Kinchin's back in the studio. Andy Isco with us from Las Vegas. Ace Seminara with us from New York. Big college basketball card tonight. And as we inch towards not just the conference tournaments, but the NCAA tournament as well, the SEC fiddling with the schedule here a little bit, moving all but one of the games to tonight. So you got a lot of college basketball to get to. We do first class, second class, no class on Tuesdays. So glad to have you with us. Jimmy, good morning.
What's up? What's up? Huge college basketball night tonight.
Yeah, we're going to spend a lot of time talking about it. LSU plays very late tonight, but there's a ton of games on the slate tonight. But we start with what happened last night, Monday night college baseball game, and LSU with one of the worst performances I can tell you in a midweek game that we've seen in a while. Last year they got run ruled by Northeastern. That was probably worse. This one was pretty bad. The Tigers it kind of sleptwalk offensively through most of the weekend, despite the fact that Dartmouth and Northeastern had walked 15 batters, had made 5 errors, had thrown 6 wild pitches, had hit 5 batters. LSU only managed 11 runs and 14 hits over the weekend. Jay Johnson promised a meeting and a talk about the approach at the plate after Sunday's game. Well, at least in the immediacy, it didn't work. Whether they're pressing a little bit more or whatever you want to call it, LSU came out again lethargic last night. They were down 10-0 before they got a base runner. Just that stat by itself will give you all that you need to know. But it was a complete breakdown of everything, offense, pitching, and defensively. And really the defensive miscues, I think, are what opened up the floodgates for LSU. John Pearson is a very promising young hitter. I think he's gonna play a lot for LSU this year, but he's primarily been on the left side of the diamond. He was at first base last night, and he made one error in the box score and another error that wasn't in the box score that kind of opened things up in that second inning for Northeastern. Cooper Williams, who started the game for LSU, also made a throwing error in that inning, and things kind of mushroomed a little bit on LSU after the errors and the miscues that weren't errors. It was 4-0, and LSU, whenever you give up an inning like that, what you want is for your team to respond. You don't want to have that linger. Go out and even if it's you give up 4 runs, even if it's only just 1 run, just get something, get a threat going, get some kind of thing to turn the momentum back in your. Well, LSU goes 3 up, 3 down on about 10 pitches in the second inning. So Northeastern carried that into the third. LSU got Cooper Williams out of the game for Zach Cowan. Cowan was hit hard in this game. Double after a couple of strikeouts, single, and then a homer from a guy hitting, I think it was 091 to left field that broke open the score and made it 8-0. They would add 2 more before LSU could get back in the dugout. I could go on, but that's basically was the game right there in the second and third innings. LSU's offense, don't let the 13-10 score fool you at all. LSU was on the cusp of being run ruled in the 7th inning before they scratched across 3 in the bottom of the inning, and really that was more Northeastern's doing than it was LSU's. There was a walk. There was a wild pitch. There was another walk. I think the ball was put in play one time in the inning. So Northeastern kind of gave it to him a little bit to keep the game going. And then Jay Johnson, there's a lot of things you can do to shake a team up. All kinds of things. You can flip your order. You can change your pregame routine. You can take extra batting practice. You can take no batting. You do all kind of things. Well, in the seventh inning, he cleared the bench, and that actually gave him a spark. Not that it mattered that they lost the game 13-3 versus 13-10, but every reserve that went in that game last night seemed to be playing with a little bit of fire that was missing from the first group for 4 days, really 5 days if you want to go back to the McNeese game last Monday. So maybe that shakes them up a little bit. Maybe it wakes up the first unit. We know these guys can hit. They came out of Jacksonville on fire. They had scored at least 9 runs in all but 2 of their games. They had run ruled 4 of the first 9 opponents. So, plus we know guys like Brown and Curiel and Milam and York and Dardar. These guys can hit. They have hit for a long time at a high level. So it's just a matter of waking up. And maybe, Jimmy, I know that when we talked before the season, this is not the most appetizing non-conference schedule on paper. You look at Northeastern, Dartmouth, and you don't think much. Northeastern is actually a pretty good baseball team last year. They won 27 in a row. I say pretty good. They were really good. 27 in a row. They went to the regional at Tallahassee. They won a game there. They gave Mississippi State all they wanted in an elimination game and lost that game 3-2. Harrison Feinberg was a first-team All-American last year. He hit 367, 18 homers, 67 runs batted in, and he was back.
And that's it.
What's that?
And that's it. They're 0-5 before they came to Louisiana.
Yeah.
Okay? I'm not going to count losing to the Boston Red Sox in Fort Myers.
No, they played a spring training game.
They counted on their schedule, but I mean they went to both. They went to both spring training outfits. They went to the Cactus League first.
Yep.
Stopped in Grand Canyon. Phoenix got run ruled there. Lost to Nebraska 7-4. Lost to Iowa 21-13. Then they flew right by Louisiana on their way to the Grapefruit League, and well, they lost to the Red Sox, but lost 2 to Minnesota. Both run ruled. This is not last year's Northeastern team.
No, it's not.
Not even close. So they do not have a win. Going into last night, they did not have a win outside of SWAC competition.
Yeah,
and so they're done. They're done with the snow burden. That 3 weekends. So they'll be at Stony Brook and then be at home. In Brookline, Massachusetts. So
don't misunderstand. This is not a game that LSU should ever lose, and it's certainly not a game that LSU should ever play.
But if it's last year's
poorly.
team, that's way more. This team ain't going to win 27 in a row.
No, it's a nice program. Mike Glavin, Tom Glavin's brother, is the head coach there. So it's a nice program, but this is not a program that LSU should ever be down 10 runs to in their own ballpark. This is not a team that LSU should give up 15 hits to
last
13
year's
runs.
Team, Northeastern team, might give us a little bit. Remember the Stony Brook. Well, this ain't no typical Stony Brook team that year. They had 10 players playing in the COD. Yeah. So I mean, but this is not last year's team. They got the star, and that's it.
Yeah. No argument. LSU is they're in a funk. This is a 5-game offensive funk. This qualifies for that. And it's not just 1 or 2 guys. It's most of this lineup for the last week is not
So what
hit.
is Jay Johnson? Jay Johnson lost midweek games to inferior competition and the 2 national championship teams. What happened then?
They rebounded.
Yeah.
And I suspect that they will.
Yeah.
They go to Lafayette on tomorrow night, and then they get a Sacramento State team in here this weekend that has really struggled to score runs in the first couple of weeks of the season. So plus you get Creighton next week. That gives you 5 games to get yourself right before you get on a plane for Nashville. And I suspect that they'll do that. But last night stunk. That was a terrible performance in every phase of the game.
Kind of not totally uncommon in sports when you play such inferior competition that your roster gets a little disinterested.
That's possible. Yeah,
sure.
That
applies in any sport.
That's possible.
Get a little sloppy. Get a little. Oh wait, yeah. I'm starting, but the guy behind me is hungrier.
I was surprised.
And so you saw some of that hunger come out when
Yeah.
you said they had their opportunity.
I was surprised in that they struggled offensively in the 3 games this weekend, and they lost the midweek game to McNeese last week where they came back and came up just short. I sort of thought that they would come back with a refocused effort last night. I mean, for Northeastern, this is the 4th game in 4 days. We're not talking about the Mets bullpen here. And I thought that LSU would break out last night, have a big game, and get on down the road. That didn't happen. Bad defense, bad plate approach, I thought, for a lot of the game. And the other thing is your top 2 pitchers are guys that you're going to count on. These are not just midweek guys. Cooper Williams and Zach Cowan were important pieces last year, especially Cowan. Now, he faded a little bit at the end of the regular season, but he came back on in the postseason, and they needed him in Omaha. And he stepped up. He has been hit hard in his outings this year. His ERA is over 13, and this is not against the top competition. The changeup is up. Is all his best pitch is a changeup, and the balls I have seen hit hard off of him have been up in the zone. And now everybody's kind of seen him a little bit more. But you leave those changeups up in the zone. Yeah, you're gonna get hit.
Yeah, don't give me the weather's too cold yet because it is mild. The azaleas are blooming in February, Charlie.
It was 79 degrees at first pitch on Sunday, so no.
No.
And
it's been nice. But
last night it was 76 degrees at first pitch. No, this was. I did that in a column for Tiger Bait. I said, this is not about running into one hot pitcher. This is not about bad weather early in the season. This is about you have not played good baseball. Offensively in the last week. And last night you didn't pitch or play defense well. Over the weekend, the pitching bailed you out. Schmidt was terrific. Moore was terrific. Guidry, Sheeran, all of those guys were fantastic, and they bailed you out of some pretty weak offensive performances. Not last night. Last night, the whole thing broke.
Cowan gave up a home run
to a guy hitting 091.
9th in the lineup.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's right. Yes.
You give Williams any kind of a pass because 3 of the 4 runs were unearned?
A little bit. Pearson didn't look terribly comfortable over at first. He's primarily a third baseman. So there's a ball on the right side that he went after and should have let Dardar at second base handle. That doesn't go down as an error in the scorebook, but that is a miscue. That one probably shouldn't have got there. Then Williams compounds it because he throws the pickoff throw, into, in the right field. So now you advance. Then Pearson does make an error. You had another error from the outfield. 4 errors is the most they've had in a game in 2.5 years.
Sloppy, disinterested, all the way around.
Yep.
And kind of like the other, the McNeese game. Wait, we're down big. Let's try got their attention and rallied late.
But it was all reserves. He emptied the entire bench. That was the only starter that was left in the game was the DH.
Is that what he did previous years when on their way to the national championship when they struggled against midweek competition?
No, because when they lost to Northwestern by 10 runs last April, they got run ruled in the 7th inning. He brought these guys in the 7th inning last night. They scored 8 runs, 7, 8, and 9. Last year they didn't get that chance. The game got shut down. And look, they were 2 outs away from being run ruled last night. So, hey, clunker, put it behind you, get down the road to Lafayette, but got to be better than that. That was not good. And the last week, offensively, they've been a little bit challenged. So,
we've been here before.
Yeah. It's not a cause for panic, but we did not notice either. It was pretty ugly. 4 hours deep into the night at Alec Box Stadium last night.
At least it wasn't too cold.
It was not cold at all. 76 degrees at first pitch. Great weather for baseball.
Our lunch menu over here served 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Monday through Friday. Different sandwiches like the club, the steak burger, or you can you dress it up however you want. We do it on a brioche bun. We can do it on the Texas toast. Chicken sandwich. We can do it grilled, fried or blackened, fully dressed on a brioche bun. Hot chicken sandwich, fried and dipped in Nashville-style hot butter topped with pickles and a ranch aioli on a buttery brioche bun. You guys have had that. I haven't had that. It meets
I'm a fan.
the hot chicken sandwich the wars or whatever it was.
Give me this one because I get to eat all I want for lunch and have plenty left over.
Yes.
It's a large bird.
The po' boys served with house-cut fries. These house-cut fries are the best. Are unbelievable. Seafood po' boys, you can do the fried catfish, oysters or shrimp, or broiled shrimp on New Orleans French bread with the tartar sauce, lettuce, and tomato. The debris po' boy, slow braised sirloin in a dark brown gravy served on the New Orleans French bread. Meatball po' boy, black and blue po' boy. That's a blue cheese melted over a sliced steak with garlic, horseradish aioli, chef salad, grilled steak salad, and our plate lunches, which are generous portions. Spaghetti and meatballs. Those homemade meatballs are very underrated. The hamburger steak with the mashed potatoes or the hand-cut fries with the lots of grilled onions and garlic. Fried catfish platter and a country fried steak. Big as a Frisbee. It's probably bigger than a Frisbee golf disc. But no, you'd have to get one of those big Frisbees that we throw in the parade grounds in
the dogs,
in
right?
Ultimate. Yeah.
To the dogs. Got it.
A regulation-style Frisbee.
Live at Doe's, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Doe's Eat Place on Government Street on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Remember, you can always get this show on demand, 1045ESPN.com, LouisianaSports.net. New Hannycast up, podcast on LSU baseball on YouTube right now. It's brought to you by Supreme Rice, celebrating their 90th year in business here in 2026, supporting our Louisiana farmers in Southwest Louisiana. For more information, go to supremerice.com. The wrecking machine that is Duke continued last night. Will Wade and company ran into a buzzsaw. At home, they were able to take care of North Carolina, who's not as good as Duke, despite the fact they beat them. And North Carolina was also without their best player in Caleb Williams when they went to Raleigh. But last night, this was all Duke. Carlos Boozer had another big game. NC State's still comfortably in the tournament, but they got it handed to them last night. And, Jimmy, for now, for Wade's group, that's 5 out of 6. That North Carolina game, the only one that they have won in that stretch.
Lost to Virginia by combined, 50-something points in that home and home.
Yep. The second game of that was in Charlottesville. They lost by 29.
Yes, Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Last week.
But they were not competitive in the game at home in Raleigh, a month and a half ago. They lost by about 30 at Louisville. They lost to Notre Dame, who was coming off of their worst home loss in the history of their program.
That's the one that sticks with me. I mean, I can forgive you for losing at Virginia.
Did you watch it Saturday?
Not a lot.
Okay, well, they Notre Dame stole it, but they really weren't even competitive in the. It was trending like if you went to like the under 12 timeout, the under 8 timeout, under 4. NC State would have probably been like minus 600 or something. They're winning by 8 to 10 the whole game. And then it got close, kind of that last media timeout. They got it to OT, and then NC State couldn't do anything in OT. And they, they lose it. It got stolen from, Notre Dame had to, but you can't be that close against that team.
Yeah, you give them an opportunity.
You can't be, even if it's in a little bit of a sandwich spot. I mean, it's a bad loss. So, and, the Miami game, they led by, 6-8 with under a minute to go and lost at home. That one as well. They rebounded. That's the game before North Carolina where they rebounded. But that's it. They did win a game at SMU, but they've got far more. They get some embarrassing losses in there. There's no question. They really do. So you wonder about where they are, how good they are going into the tournament. It's a team that really, if I had to say yes or no, probably be one and done in the tournament.
They're 29 in the
still.
Yeah, they didn't move after last night.
Yeah. It's not by margin of victory or in visuals, but now listen, Duke is. We talked about a couple of teams who are not quite as strong defensively, who are usually up there every year. They're good defensively, but not quite as special, and that's Tennessee and Houston, and they're just not. Defending and rebounding is not what they do. They're a little bit more. They're more potent offensively, but not that much more potent offensively to balance out their dip in defense. Number 1 defensive efficiency team in the country, the Duke Blue Devils. Number 2 defensive efficiency team in the country, Michigan Wolverines. You know, and it's that 4. Also, they did an odds maker finally put it out. First of all, the top 4, who do you think it is? Do you think the 4th team is Duke or Florida? But they did a 4-team versus a field. And so the obvious is Duke, Michigan, and Arizona. Is Florida or UConn that 4th team?
Based on, I'm going to say Florida because they've got the higher NET right now.
Okay. Well, they put, I don't know how much the odds makers look at NET, but they're looking at the games, and Florida's better right now, even though they lost. So they put Florida in there. What do you think the line is against the field?
Those 4 against the field, if I'm taking the field.
So you got UConn, you got Iowa State, you got Houston, you got
Okay, this
Virginia.
This isn't something I would think about every day, so I could be way, way wrong on this. I'm going to say the field is minus 150.
The 4 is minus 180.
Okay. Then no.
1 seeds typically do win. You know,
Don't
everyone
you,
loves
last year. And how much was it? Because the mid-majors have been weakened so much that it was according to form. We had this before. That was the Kansas-Memphis final that beat Westbrook and Love in UCLA, and Kansas beat North Carolina. They were underdogs against North Carolina. North Carolina had a loaded team. But there was the 4 number 1 seeds. Last year, all 4 number 1 seeds made it. How much?
Because Krzyzewski's last year in the Superdome, wasn't that 4?
No.
That wasn't 4
No.
ones?
No.
It was 4 blue bloods. It was Villanova,
It was 4 blue
Duke,
bloods.
UNC, and Kansas, but they weren't 4
No.
ones? Okay.
No.
All right.
No, it was a blue blood Final Four. You're right, but no, it was not 4. That's the 2 times it hit, and it's you know, I mean, look, UConn's much closer to Florida this year than they were last year, and that was a 50-50 game in the second round. All right, so I mean, but I think Florida's better. I mean, don't get me wrong, but that might be, you know, we got some games left to be played, but that might be the 4th number 1, and that might be the 5th overall seed. UConn,
yeah.
You know, with them. So it's just, you know, it's a lot of good. And I know this is first, second, no class. I'll give you a little appetizer for no class, okay? I've always been, usually, you know, with these mid-majors, because they have a shorter opportunity. Their shots to, you know, get quality wins are not as much as the Blue Bloods. I get it. But how can you have, with Dick Vitale, how are you going to leave out the little guy? This is what the tournament's all about. It wasn't last year. If you're not paying attention, the mid-majors are not the mid-majors anymore. Every good player is getting poached. I mean, you can't. Is it possible for a mid-major to slip through the cracks? Like UCSD could have won a couple of games last year. Okay, they did. They got knocked out at overtime against Michigan, and a tough call against them. But man, it's so few. Usually you had 7 or 8 of them that were potent. You just don't. How can you have the same strong stance as far as Cinderella makes a tournament? Cinderella was non-existent, bro, last year. Non-existent.
Did you hear Bruce Pearl, and he kind of got into it with the Miami of Ohio AD? He said these guys would finish last in the Big East.
He spoken in the Miami AD, fired back at him.
Yeah.
And I got to take the Miami AD side on this. Bruce Pearl's also saying we,
Auburn.
referring to Auburn.
Yeah, and they're 15 and 14.
Can't do it. Recluse yourself from it. And Auburn's on the bubble. One game over 500.
Yeah.
I mean, so you can put a team with a losing record into the tournament.
And I want to reward Auburn for as hard as they scheduled, but you got to win. You got to win some of them. You got to win some. And I don't
won one game in February on a putback.
And I understand that Miami of Ohio has played a schedule that a lot of teams in the major conferences could have gone undefeated against. But there's something to, man. If you're undefeated,
of course, Chuck. No, Miami, Ohio has done enough to deserve an at-large bid.
That's what I think.
Okay,
too.
Or their metrics. I mean, they're not St. Louis. They're not Utah State.
St. Louis, Utah State, Santa Clara. That's the three mid-majors that we're looking at.
Do you count St. Mary's too?
We decided we weren't going to count St. Mary's.
Okay.
We decided that them and Gonzaga are in a different.
I think Utah State and St. Louis are clearly better than but they have found ways to win. And about a handful of these games have been sort of crazy wins. No, they deserve to be in.
Yeah.
I mean, if anything, it's just we're going to watch Miami, Ohio a little closer.
Sure.
Okay, so that's fine, all the build-up. And I just can't see the committee, and they've kind of given us a little flares. They lose to Akron in the final, they're in. I just can't see. But it's the overall mid-majors. The mid-majors have been weakened so much, man. It's just not the same, and it's kind of you want to talk about all the business side and all the problems, and Louisville's athletic department's trying to say, if you just watch the games, you really don't know. Not in the tournament. Not in the tournament. With the Cinderella they don't carry the stick they used to, man, because all the age is gone too. Remember when Oakland beat Kentucky. They had all kinds of guys that were aged.
Loyola Chicago, another one.
Back then. Yeah. Oh, yeah, they were really good. They were good for a few years too with Porter Moser. So it's just been. I mean, these games weren't even competitive, man. This is the first time that the first 32 games, the ATS was so far ahead was the favorites. Man, sometimes it's by little, sometimes it's favorites, sometimes by a wide margin. The dogs cover, not last year. And that's where we are.
I need one more. I need a bigger sample size. I need to see one more tournament to make it a trend at this point. I agree.
But Max, you do know that you're an all-conference player at the MAC school, the Horizon, the MAAC. You're gone.
There's plenty of rationale to your explanation. Yeah, it makes sense why the favorites did well last year. It makes sense. You can explain it away. I just want to see one more because, 2 or 3 years ago, you weren't that far removed from NC State making the Final Four, San Diego State making the tournament, San Diego State making the national championship game.
I don't consider San Diego State much of a mid-major either. They've been
even now.
Well, now, yeah, a little bit. Yes, definitely now. Yeah.
I mean, they're right on the bubble themselves. New Mexico, there's a lot of pressure on those teams.
The transfer rule was different then.
Sure, but I just want to see one more turn. I think there's a lot of rationale to it, but we just need to see it one more time.
So I mean, think about it. A-10's a good basketball league. That's the one we're counting a mid-major, St. Louis. Mm-hmm. I mean, we're talking about Mountain West Conference. They're going to hit 3 teams in. So
we're trying to find more than 2 teams in the Big East that we think are worth a damn. The Big East.
Yeah, well, clear number 3 is Villanova. They're going to get in. We don't know if they're any good.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Arizona flexing last night, 16-point win over Iowa State. Koa Pete didn't need much out of him. He got 4 points last night.
0.5.
Yeah, and he had 4 points. They were in control even.
They're the contrarian style-wise. They attack the rim. They don't just park it from 3. Oh no. They do something. They love getting to the line. They love attacking the rim, and then they'll take clean threes. But they have a completely different approach than 95% of the teams in college basketball.
Cats win easy last night against Iowa State.
Don't forget our friends at Legacy Title, Chad Reynolds Legacy Title for all your real estate closings. 296-0060, a full-service title company servicing all of South Louisiana. Fast, friendly, professional services, what you get when you dial 296-0060. Ashley Donald, Adrian Gallardo, Michael Platt, Mariana Haynes, Natalie and Bradford Smith, buying, building, refinancing. Nobody choose but you. Choose Chad Reynolds and Legacy Title, 296-0060.
Live at Doe's, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Doe's Eat Place on Government Street on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge. Heading out to Las Vegas, deep in the desert, lives one man. One man of many sports bets. The one and only Andy Isco.
All right, Andy, it's college basketball time, tournament time as some of the smaller conferences get underway. The big conferences get underway next week. So what you looking at, man, in some of these tournaments or some of these bigger conferences coming down to the wire? Big schedule tonight in college hoops.
Yeah, very attractive schedule tonight. I'm actually looking at 3 games, all of which have implications for seeding. A lot more of these conferences now are spreading things out over 4 or 5 days, and the top 4 teams get double buys, and teams seeds 5 through 9 get single buys. And it's always an advantage, I think, to have the double bye because, number one, you do get a little bit of extra rest, Number two, if there's an upset in the previous round, you're now playing against a team that's played 2, 3, maybe games in a row. And so they're a little bit more tired playing, 24 hours apart, and you're coming in there fresh after having maybe 4 or 5 days off following the end of the regular season. So one of the games I'm looking at tonight, I think they wrap up at least a number 4 seed, and unlikely not going to be much higher, is North Carolina hosting Clemson tonight. They are actually tied with Clemson for the 4th and 5th spot. This is their only meeting of the season. Clemson beat them rather handily when they played last year. They've not yet played this season. Carolina, I saw, is about a 3.5 point favorite in this one, and I like Carolina. I've played them the last few games. They've played well since they lost Caleb Wilson. They've won 4 out of 5. The one loss was the blowout loss at NC State. They do have, I think, at least one road win, I think, during this stretch. I think that was at Syracuse. I had them the other day in their win against, I guess it was a Virginia Tech, I believe. And they're just playing very well. It's a team that's capable of making a deep run. And Clemson, I think they're going to make the field as well. But I think that Carolina playing at home, this is the final home game, which is another thing I like to look at. And I'll get to it in a moment. I don't always play the home team on what normally senior night, but Carolina fits a lot of the boxes that I like to look at. So I'll be on them tonight.
Clemson was on a 4-game losing streak until Saturday, where they beat Louisville at home, 80-75. They did catch a break that Mikael Brown only played half the minutes, and he's out for the midweek game this week. I think tonight Louisville plays, so he is expected not to play at all. But he played exactly 20 minutes of the game on Saturday, where Clemson pretty much led throughout, but by single digits, and held on to win by 5. But that snapped their 4-game losing streak. The loss at home to both Virginia Tech and Florida State. So Brad Brownell's team, they were thinking about making a move on him when LSU hired Will Wade. And, he's had a really nice run since then, but hitting a little bit of a soft spot right now.
Yeah, Clemson has a history of starting this season really strongly against the non-conference competition, and then things start to level off a little bit once conference play starts. But the last couple of years, they seem to have been able to go a little bit deeper in conference, and this is one of their best seasons. But I do think they come up a bit short tonight. I did have them the other day against Louisville. I just felt it was the right spot for them. I'm actually looking at a couple of SEC games tonight, including the Alabama, I believe, at Oklahoma. And of course,
Alabama's Georgia, and Oklahoma plays Missouri.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that's the one I had to mention. I was looking at that Oklahoma game, the Missouri game. I decided to pass on that one. Georgia's having an outstanding season, as is Alabama. I like the way that they've been playing down the stretch. And, of course, it's a game where they're going to try and force the pace, and not many teams can keep up with them. We saw what they could do against Arkansas when they were trailing a good part of that game, and then came back to win that game in overtime, I believe it was. I think it was double overtime a week ago. Nothing negative about Georgia. And, again, they are playing at home, so it is their last home game this year. But I just like the way Nate Oates' team continues to play. Remember, this was a Final Four team, 2 years ago? And I think they have the
regional final last year. Nobody's won. Only won as many games, 7 games in a tournament. So that they are hot as of late. But for a big portion of the season, Georgia was the fastest-paced team in college basketball. They were number 1 in the country. Now Alabama is number 1. So you have the highest-scoring team against the 6th highest-scoring team. They're going to get up and down. I think 179.5 for the total is actually a little light.
Yeah, I was looking at that, but, when you get totals that high, all it takes is like 1 3 or 4 minute stretch. You've got to average, to get to 180, you have to average, the teams combined have to average 4.5 points a minute. They average 4 points a minute, it's 160. You average 5 points a minute, it's 200. Those are big numbers when you have to go over. It's different than if you're going over, even over 160 is a little bit more difficult, but certainly getting up close to where that total is now, I'd have to pass on the total. I'm just going to go with Alabama, who I think overall is the better, more experienced team.
They're the better team. Are they getting better, Charlie? I mean, that comeback against Tennessee in Tennessee Saturday. Yep. That's an attention grabber.
That's a game that they should lose 98 out of 100 times, given the circumstances of what it was. And they brought Philem off the bench, which I guess might have been because he was coming back off the injury, but that didn't seem to faze him at all. He had a monster game. It's the only game he's come off the bench this season.
8 in a row since getting routed on that Sunday in Gainesville. So 8 in a row for the Alabama Crimson Tide. And I think the big guy has woken up. Since they tried to get Bediako in, tried to change his role on the team, he's woken up a lot as well. What else are you looking at?
And you pointed out, I do like the way they came back against Tennessee. Tennessee had gone down there and beaten them earlier in the season. And the fact that they struggled throughout this game but found a way to come back, I think is something that I think puts them in a good mindset for getting set to start the tournament, to be able to overcome adversity in a game that does have significant implications. Of course, nothing like the implications that a big game in the NCAA tournament has, because the implication is you don't win, you go home. Here, of course, they still have the conference tournament. The other game I'm looking at tonight is A&M hosting Kentucky. Again, these are two teams that are battling for position as far as now the first 4 teams get double byes, the second 4 teams get single byes, and then everybody else plays beginning in the first rounders or the first round of the tournament. So I like the way this A&M team, even though they haven't played well their last 2 games, losing their last 2, and Kentucky I think has won their last 2. But I like this A&M team. I've liked them throughout the season. They have been somewhat inconsistent, but considering, again, they're playing their final home game to build a little bit of momentum because, we don't know where some of these teams are going to even get in. There are so many teams right now on the bubble, and as we've talked about in the past, the good thing for some of these teams that are 7, 8, 9, 10 in the SEC, the Big 10, the Big 12, whatever, is that the committee wants to reward more of the power conference teams, and with only, 35 or 36 at-large bids, 5 or 6 of those bids that normally would have gone to mid-major schools now go to the power schools almost by default. So I think that both teams have a lot to play for right now. Kentucky, I believe, has a 1-game lead over A&M. So A&M with a win here could certainly put themselves in position to, I don't know that they would get a bid over Kentucky simply because of the name recognition, but certainly from their point of view, I think that they're putting a lot of focus on this game, and I think they have the talent to be able to get by. Won't be easy, but the point spread reflects that.
I think it's a really interesting game tonight because A&M is starting to get their backs up against the wall. When you get to NET in the 40s, that means you're in bubble territory, and now they've lost 6 of 8. And the 2 wins against teams that aren't making it to the tournament, Ole Miss and Oklahoma. So to lose at home, to their arch rival in A&M, it's kind of you're making it way more interesting. This is a team that was in there, and their style of play, the extreme style of play, is just wondering. It seems it's like it's hit a wall. I mean, they're pressing out of missed baskets and missed free throws and things like that. So
nobody was surprised that Texas beat them the other day. Texas was a very popular play on the money line in addition to getting the 3.5 against A&M.
Yeah, started out 7-1 in conference play, and now they have dropped. So were they 9 and 8 now? I mean, 9 and 7.
9 and 7.
9 and 7 now. So lost 6 of 8.
The 2 wins in February for them were against the bottom of the league, Ole Miss and Oklahoma, and both games were close.
Yeah, just mentioned that. Yeah.
I won't say this game decides their season, but it certainly hurts their chances of getting an at-large bid should they lose, unless they go. Unless they go deep in the conference tournament, which probably means it means at least making the semifinals of the SEC, and probably means making the finals if they lose tonight.
Yep, we will see. Well, Andy, we're looking forward to it next week, man. We'll be in the middle of conference tournament action. We'll love to. But that is a really underrated. It's kind of catching steam, though. I say underrated. Used to be tournament week.
The way favorites have dominated the last few years in the NCAA tournament, the conference tournaments have actually provided more excitement over the last few years.
Well, you have a bigger window. You have a bigger menu. I mean, there's way more games on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday than there are in the actual tournament. You got a lot more than just four at a time going.
You have more upsets in the conference tournament, and sometimes you get the team I'm going to be watching very carefully. I was trying to go against them tonight with Toledo, Miami of Ohio. I want to see what happens with them as far as should they not win the conference tournament, assuming they win their last 2 games. That's going to be very interesting. Of course, they will probably be slotted against another team that the committee wants to see eliminated. They want to preserve as many teams advancing to the second round as possible from the power conferences, but it doesn't always work out that way.
Miami 7.5 tonight against Toledo at home. Toledo is 10-6 in MAC play this year. Of course, Miami, Ohio, 16-0. Thank you, Andy. Follow Andy on Twitter at VegasAndy711. We'll talk to you next week. Thank you, buddy.
I'll look forward to it, guys. Enjoy the week.
Speaking of conference tournament week, next Wednesday we will be at Walk-Ons in Burbank, and next Thursday we'll be at Bally's at the brand-new DraftKings Sportsbook at the Bally's Casino. Don't forget our friends over at Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com for windows, vinyl windows, storm impact windows, and wood windows. That's right. If your homeowners association requires wood windows like mine does, you got to call Relief Windows at 288-8138 because they have a warranty. They are built to last in these extreme South Louisiana weather conditions. They look great, and they are functional. So check out our doors, siding, shutters, and shades. Check out our entire inventory online at reliefwindows.com. So if you're in the market for windows, doors, siding, shutters, or shades, call Relief Windows, 288-8138, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday, or check out all their inventory at reliefwindows.com.
Live at Doe's, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
With Ott and Hanny from Doe's Eat Place on Government Street on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Congratulations go out to a former LSU Tiger and New Orleans Saint. Will Clapp, who just recently retired as a player in the NFL, has been named an offensive assistant on the Saints coaching staff. Yeah,
okay.
So good for him. New Orleans guy was at LSU from 14 to 17, and then spent 8 years in the NFL. I played 66 games for the Saints, Chargers, and Bills. Started 22 games. Had a nice run, and now he is on the staff of the Saints. The Claps,
New Orleans guy.
Yeah, the Claps go back. Tommy Claps, your age or
yes?
Okay, yeah, a little bit older than me. I remember him.
Yeah, he might be a year younger, but I mean, yeah, the same age. I'm buddies with his.
He and Nicky Hazard came out the same year, or maybe back to back.
Him and George
years.
Henriquez were both from Brother Martin. Yeah. I think I'm not sure if John or Nicky. John was 1 year older than Nicky.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure. I might have that backwards. But it was all the same, a year or so.
Right.
It was all. So then you had the three from Shaw that year. So you had them from Jesuit and Brother Martin. You had Roland Barbe, which was earlier, but not too much. We all remember him. That's for damn sure.
Yeah. Roland Barbe had the big Lyle Alzado bushy beard.
Yes, coming from Chalmette, baby.
Yeah. He did some shows with us when he got out of pro
cool
football.
Cat,
play. Yeah, very. I like.
But
big guy.
But they it was his, of course, Tommy, like you said, his dad, my age, and then his grandfather, Mr. Bill Clapp, is a cartoonist.
He did
art.
Okay.
He did drawings of my dad, like his cartoons of my dad, like being an old retired Tiger and stuff like that. It did a lot of stuff. Yeah.
Learned
and
something.
his sister Lauren is cool as crap. She's a hoot, man. I loved her.
Good for Will.
Will's aunt.
Yeah, embarking on a new career with the Saints as a coach. Hour number 2 straight ahead here at Doe's Eat Place, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch, first class.
I want a seat in first class where I was booked and ticketed over a month ago.
Second class.
No man should be subjected to the indignity of being labeled or treated like a second-class citizen.
And no class.
Life had become like school on Sunday. No class. I'll tell you what then. Why don't you call me sometime when you have no class?
First class, second class, and no class. Brought to you by Supreme Rice. Buy local with Louisiana-based Supreme Rice since 1936.
Which means that our friends at Supreme Rice are celebrating their 90th anniversary in business down in Southwest Louisiana. SupremeRice.com. All right, first class. I'm going to go with Kaylin Chio, the LSU gymnast. She is now the number 1 overall ranked gymnast in the country. Took over from Jordan Childs at UCLA. She is ranked number 1 in 3 of the 5 major categories, and she now has a perfect 10 in 3 straight meets. 4 perfect 10s in the last 3 meets, and she's got 6 for the season. Now, Jay Clark, who we like an awful lot and has done a great job, spent a long time in his press conference this week being pretty animated about team. And kudos, Coach. That's what you should do.
Man, don't mess with the OG, baby. Come on, my man Jay Clark, though.
Let us in the media. I don't want to disrupt your team chemistry or anything like that, but let us give some accolades to this young lady because she has been, in some cases, perfect.
I saw it Friday night. I went.
Look, there've been some great gymnasts come through that program, and they've won a national championship. They've been to deep into the finals a bunch of times. The old Super Six and 4 on the floor and national. Look, they're great.
Super Six is gone, man.
Long time ago.
New format now.
Super Six has been gone, but this Chio is phenomenal. At one point, it's like the SEC Gymnast of the Week award is almost named after her.
I think at Oklahoma she had a couple of 10s. I think this past Friday she had 1 10.
It's 4 in the last 3 meets, is what she said.
And is that counting the Sunday
yes.
podium? Okay, she had one there too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
They scored the best out of that. Arizona actually had, I don't know if this was scheduled before, but I know Arizona's meet, the Big 12 area, was canceled, so they picked this up.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it was thrown together because of them initiating it, but Alabama stayed for it, and then they had North Carolina, I believe.
North Carolina and Arizona,
First of all, alumni night. It's cool to see everybody back. The biggest star, Olivia Dunn, she came back as well, so that's good to. I didn't notice Kiffin there, but he was there. But it's packed. It goes good. Being in a few of these meets now, it's really hard to tell who's not. Yeah, okay, you can see if they move their feet or if they stumble, on their landing, on their stick or whatever. I get that, but Charlie, when you're seeing the actual the things that Chio is doing. She's even a novice of my extremely novice gymnastics eye can tell. No, this is a different level.
Yes.
It's kind of cool, and they save her pretty much for all of the, where they do the bars, the floor, and she does it all. And I asked Trey, I said, what does she specialize? She does it all.
When you're number 1 in 3 out of the 5 categories that they rank gymnasts in,
what are the 5? I thought they do 4.
She is ranked number. I want to get this right.
They do the bars, the vault, the floor, and the beam.
I guess is all around. Might be
the last one is all around. Vault, beam,
okay.
And she is number 1 in 3 of the 5 major categories. So, God bless. She's a great first class to Chio.
Don't give my man Jay a hard time. I don't want you.
I wasn't.
You sliding in there a little back.
I wasn't. My man is preaching team. I'm all for it.
Look,
let's give a little love to
it is cool watching him interact with the athletes because it's such a different approach in coaching that than it would. And I don't know what's a good one, but it's a lot of positivity. It's a lot of kind of calming nerves and relieving stress as opposed to firing them up. Kind of. I don't know. It's but that Chio is she's worth the price of admission, Jack. She's good.
Fantastic. Second class. All right. I personally want to root for Miami of Ohio to make the tournament. Okay.
They're going to make it.
I want to see them. They may get blown out by whoever they play, and if they do, okay. But I want to see it because haven't been that many teams in the last since Indiana ran the table. I think there've been 6. That have finished the regular season undefeated. So if they do that, I want to see them. I'll even root for them, okay? Plucky underdog, great story, except, hang on, and here's the good with a chance to be great. If you're a plucky underdog, if you're somebody that has gone against the odds and succeeded and everybody's like, oh, man, those guys are easy to root for, that's fantastic. That's what the whole underdogs thing is about. If you go to acting entitled and acting like a brass pole, we lose interest in a hurry. Travis Steele is the coach, and they played Western Michigan on Friday, okay? He went from one official to the next official to the next official and was screaming his lungs out. They were losing, got a tech, threw a tirade, and on his way to the locker room, trashed all of the sound equipment in the arena.
Yeah,
okay.
The DJ, he gonna get some new equipment.
He is, and
so
the league fined him $2,500, and he's got to pay $3,000
or $2,500.
$2,500.
Okay,
and he's got to pay $3,000 in equipment damages to.
What's his name? DJ Mack? DJ Mook? What's his name?
Welch. DJ. His real name is Welch.
That's not it.
DJ Chuck.
That's it. DJ Chuck.
Incredible
like,
DJ Chuck.
Be your nickname.
His
what
name
would you
is,
rather? DJ Hanny or DJ Chuck?
The only person that ever called me Chuck was my mother, so I'll leave that one alone. And that was when I was a kid, so I think Hanny's probably better.
All the fella DJs. DJ Chuck getting some new maybe you're kicking there.
So look, we want to root for you. We're pulling for you. We think you should be in the tournament. Don't act like this. You make yourself very easy to dismiss when you pull this crap.
We can have a bigger. They might be able to pull off one upset, Charlie, because they are an offensive explosive team. They give up so many easy buckets. They might not even be. I guess they'll be the slightest favorite, but Akron's going to be maybe a public dog. The odds aren't out because the seeding is not set yet.
Yeah.
So the odds can't come out for that MAC tournament till they know the brackets. But they're gonna have a tough time winning that thing. But they should be in. They would have to lose tonight and lose an early round even before them. I think if they lose tonight and lose to Akron in the final, I still think they'll get in. But I just don't. They're the conversation because they're not as good as most mid-majors who are undefeated right now.
And they're a 12 seed, 11, 12 seed?
Oh, yeah. They'll probably give them they'll probably make them miss the play-in game.
The first four.
The first four, yeah.
Okay. No class, and I'm not assessing blame here. I'm just going to give no class to the whole situation here. Sunday, USC playing in a game against Nebraska. They ended up losing the game 82-67. Chad Baker-Mazzara, who's the leading scorer for USC, went down hard on a drive to the baseline, and that was it. He left the game, and when he came back, Eric Musselman told the reporters after the game, he said he couldn't go. So Baker-Mazzara went over and sat in the stands. And then Musselman said, well, there weren't enough chairs where we were. You got to come up with a better cover story than that, boss.
Wait. That he said.
Not enough chairs. Ran out of chairs.
Okay.
Happens all the time on college benches, right? We're not talking about some small league here. We're talking about the Big Ten. They didn't have enough chairs. So Baker-Mazzara, according to multiple reports, this was multiple incidents that had happened. So halfway through a game, Baker-Mazzara decides he's not going back in. Was he hurt? I don't know. They weren't going to say anything after the game. Now, here's what I know about Eric Musselman. It's been a year here. We saw him at Arkansas for a long time. We see him at other places. Very good coach, in my opinion. Hothead. Always been a hothead. Doesn't make him unique among college coaches, but he's been a hothead. Chad Baker-Mazzara, here's what I know about him. This is school number 5 in 6 years. And he's a good player. He started at Duquesne. He went to San Diego State. He spent a year at Northwest Florida State where he didn't play. 2 years at Auburn. He was a starter on their Final Four team. And he's the leading scorer for USC. So it's not like this guy can't play.
A little borderline dirty.
I was going to say, okay.
Borderline dirty.
So you got a hothead coach.
I don't know.
It's
a little strong for Musselman, though.
Hothead?
Compared to the rest of the college basketball coaches.
Oh, I don't know, man. Animated, if you prefer that word.
Because he takes his shirt off and he's not super big. Look,
This whole incident looks bad, right? You got a coach that won't talk about it. You got a guy that leaves the game. Coach won't talk about it. He's sitting basically in the stands
stick to
after
the facts.
this. Well, that's the facts.
Yeah, stick to the facts. I mean,
There's plenty enough ugly with the facts without me having to speculate. I don't know what he did besides
he quit.
this. That's what it looks like. It looks like he quit. But then when Musselman won't say anything and he's like, we didn't have enough chairs, and he just said he couldn't go. All right. It looks like you're trying to not say something.
Well, he's off the team
Bill
now.
Self's done that all year.
Well, I'm not wild about what happened with Patterson either. So
Peterson,
excuse me. I'm not wild about that situation either, although it appears he is now back, as a full-time player. I don't get quitting on your team in the middle of the game, but I don't know if he couldn't go back or not. And now, when everybody clams up like this, it makes it look like you're trying to hide something. So,
But he's off the team now, so
and he's
gone.
Yeah.
Right, I think that's important. Like that.
No, that's very important because they were at one time, not that long
Stick
ago.
to the facts. He quit. He quit because they were a team with a lot of promise this year. They won the Maui Classic, by the way. Mm-hmm. Okay, now it's not. It has been upstaged for the Era tournament out of Vegas as the top early season, college basketball tournament. They won it. They won the Maui Classic. You know who the MVP was?
Was it him?
Baker Mazzara.
Yeah.
So it's good when it's going your way, but he's a guy that when the dirtiness seemed to be more common when they fell behind. Okay, and this is a guy who should be the most mature because he's the damn oldest. But
26.
His age,
26 years old.
His age does not correlate his maturity. Mm-hmm. So, but as far as what do you want Musselman to say? I'm just going to make something up and you move on. He's gone, and then when he's officially gone, they come back and say, you want to follow up on it? He's gone. I'm not talking about guys that are on my roster. So, I mean, it's, he's not happy with him. He had to know he took a risk on him.
Yeah.
That is the style of play, but he can be an effective player. I mean, Izzo's best player right now, and Izzo's doing it again. 2 really good road wins last week for, Mr. March. But his point guard is always in the middle of, some dirtiness, or borderline, dirtiness. So
USC's 5 losses in a row drop them to 64 in the net. They are out of the NCAA tournament.
Like 30 preseason also, votes. Early in the season when they won the Maui Classic, I think they got into about like number 15 or so. But, on paper, Arenas' kid has been obviously a disappointment this year, but he's been hurt a lot of it. Who knows just how, the extent of the
his
injury.
comments weren't optimum either. He says, well, you got to take, whatever your best player does. This guy puts, 18, 20 a night. Whatever he says is right. Now we got a JV team. I'm sure his son appreciated that now that Baker Mazzara is gone.
Arenas?
Arenas said that. He goes, now we got a JV team. Well, your son's on the team, man.
He quit. The dad did.
Gilbert Arenas said this.
Oh, the dad?
Yeah. Agent Zero.
Elijah.
You remember? No, you remember it. Agent Zero.
Well, he's older. But he's not maturing much either, huh? He had his own little missteps,
Does it appear?
didn't he?
Yeah, leave your gun out of the locker room.
Yeah.
Can I give you one more no class while you're at it? How about Trent Dilfer? Have you heard his comments?
I did, but you go ahead for the audience.
Look, he's not at UAB anymore. He's at a high school head coaching job now. But he talked about what he would have done differently at UAB. Talks about the portal and how he had it so hard at UAB, which maybe he did. They didn't have a lot of money. But basically talks about how all their players that they got from the portal they had to get were leftovers. He called them, we had to go to the portal for leftovers because everyone who's good here leaves for other teams. Referring to your former players as leftovers, I think that's pretty classless when you didn't get the job done.
When Dilfer was a commentator, I thought he was a fairly likable commentator. I didn't have a strong opinion on him one way or the other. Everything that came out of his mouth from down there rubbed people the wrong way. And even if you're outside the program, stuff like that, that wasn't the only thing.
No accountability.
That he did
down. He said he had a team of shrinkers, and he had no chance. I mean, come on.
Rather be a shrinker and a leftover than a zero. That's what he gets. He was a zero.
Yeah,
That's what you get when you get an opportunity as a D1 coach with no experience.
Yeah. First class, second class, no class. Brought to you by Supreme Rice and SupremeRice.com. You're getting out tailgating for baseball. You're making jambalaya. You're making red beans and rice. You're making white beans and rice. Make it with Supreme Rice. The Parball, Jimmy, that's your favorite?
Parball, man, it's awesome. It's a long grain rice. It's firm. It's the closest thing to the restaurant. It is restaurant rice. When you do it at home, just boil it, strain it, man. It doesn't have a lot of that residue. It is just exactly what I'm looking for in a rice. You make a bunch of it. You put it in Ziploc bags in the freezer. It holds up perfectly easy in the microwave to kind of heat it up with that kind of wet heat. Love me some Parball rice from Supreme Rice. And you can find it. It's wherever supplies are in all the area grocery stores locally.
Go to SupremeRice.com for more information. Live at lunch here at Doe's Eat Place, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Doe's Eat Place on Government Street on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
And we return here at Doe's Eat Place live at lunch. All right, let's take a big card in college basketball tonight. Let's start early game, 5 o'clock on the SEC Network. Tennessee is at South Carolina.
Tennessee looking to bounce back again from a big double-digit blown lead against it. They blew two 16-point leads against Kentucky. Then on Saturday, they blew a 14-point lead at home against Alabama, lose 71-69. How'd they respond the last time at the loss against Kentucky? They won on the road at Tennessee did at Alabama, and then they won on the road and covered against Mississippi State, like Tennessee laying the points against South Carolina. Bounce back.
Texas Tech is hosting TCU tonight. Since losing JT Topham, they're doing all right, man.
You're fallen hero. You're supposed to, okay, you rally for a game, maybe 2, 3, including going to Ames, Iowa, and winning. And Charlie, that game was not as close as the 9-point final score. That was in double digits from gate to wire. They got it a little bit respectable at the end. Now they got TCU coming in, but that's the deal. 3-0 straight up and against the spread, and they're not even close. Now at home minus 8.5. How long can it? McCandless, boy, is doing his magic. He outcoached the pants off of Golden for 35 minutes in that regional final, and then they just hit all those threes at the end. So Texas Tech's fun to watch right now.
UCF hosting Oklahoma State tonight, 6 o'clock tip from Orlando. UCF in bubble land right now, 46 on the NET.
Yeah, and they lost a close one, 87-86 at home in Orlando on Saturday to Baylor. And we know about Baylor being disappointing season. Now, again, I think they're going to bounce back and look to put away Oklahoma State here. Central Florida, it looks like Johnny Dawkins and his team is on their way to the NCAA tournament, but they can't afford another damaging loss like they had on Saturday. I'm looking to lay the 8.5 with Central Florida.
Virginia tonight hosting Wake Forest. Hoos had won 9 in a row and then ran it at Buzzsaw against Duke on Saturday, but they're a 2-touchdown favorite tonight.
Yeah, 14.5. Bounce back is the theme, huh?
Yeah.
How teams bounce back from some embarrassing losses, and they were humiliated, man. And that I don't know, I think the game ended 25 in Durham on Saturday. It wasn't that close. It really wasn't. So 14.5 is a big number. Wake Forest's been a little bit of a disappointment. They were on the bubble last year, and but 14.5, they may take out some frustrations. Just kind of a big number, so kind of a stay away.
Missouri is at Oklahoma. I'm going to ask you two things about this game. Number one, Missouri took a big jump up with the NET with the win this weekend. They're in the low 50s now at a 10-6 conference record. And Oklahoma at 5-11. Porter Moser coming back, not coming back? Is it still
probably going?
That's what I think too.
Probably going. He was on a hot seat last year before they rallied to get into the tournament.
Yeah,
and they were one and done on that one. So both teams, Charlie, are on 2-game winning streaks. So the Missouri, they beat Tennessee. They followed up with a very mature effort. I like that. That was one of my 6 picks on Friday. They went to Starkville, and I mean, 8 minutes in, it's a 20-point game. I mean, they win by 24 on the road there. So they are playing better ball right now. We talk about Oklahoma with the revenge. We talk about their tough luck this year. They beat Auburn by double digits. They beat LSU by double digits. So they're playing better as of late. And the revenge spot, has there been a tougher loss than the 30-footer at the end of regulation to send it in overtime, and the other 28-footer to win it down 2 at the both were buzzer beaters, true buzzer beaters to it. So Oklahoma, this line is creeping up a little bit. They were plus 1.5. Now they're minus 2.5.
You put Florida and Mississippi State on my call sheet here. Are you trying to figure out what the biggest win in conference play is this year?
They have been, well, it hasn't been the lopsided matchups, LSU or South Carolina. And, you know, their frontline guys played 30 minutes. He's not afraid to play his starters in lopsided games, extended minutes. But about 30 is where he cuts it out. But they just should destroy Mississippi State. But that was an emotional win. They had game day there. It was fine. They seem to come out a little bit flat against teams like LSU and South Carolina. I don't know, but 22.5, it's a hard game to bet. But they could name their score. I'm just not sure how much intensity they're going to have, but they are a covering machine. Now, 12-3 run against the spread, and 2 of the 3 against South Carolina and Kentucky were backdoors on big numbers.
Kansas tonight, 8 o'clock in Tempe against Arizona State, trying to shake off that big loss on Saturday against
So if you
Arizona.
got Musselman and sort of being a hothead, I would raise you to a Bobby Hurley. So
I would need to bring Dan Hurley just to call that bet.
Oh, he's just as hot-headed, but he just loses a lot more. So,
yeah.
But he is. I think Daddy Hurley had a reputation for being a little bit of a hothead and rough on their officials as well. But Kansas is interesting, Charlie. I mean, Arizona State is playing better. I mean, they've been Hurley is a surprise to still have a job in Tempe. He's probably going to be done, but they're trying to scratch and claw their way into a little bit of respectability as of late. So tricky spot for Kansas going into Tempe.
Still a protected seed, and a dangerous team at 21-8 on the season is Kansas. All right, Vandy and Ole Miss tonight. This one's going to the plus. But Ole Miss, after losing 10 straight, got the win on the road.
Got the win on the road. Are they on the improve right now? Get not much of a home court advantage. We're at the Pavilion right now. It's just really, really light. You saw the crowd for LSU, going to be a similar crowd for Vanderbilt here. And Vandy, how do they respond? From getting whooped as well. So they destroyed Kentucky in the first game about 28. They got the revenge spot. That was one of our picks on Saturday. Kentucky in that revenge spot. They won easily. So how does Vanderbilt respond? So it's 6.5 on the road. It's kind of, I don't know, is what I'm saying. I don't know if Ole Miss is going to have play with a little pride like they did on Saturday, and have a little momentum, or if Vandy's just going to right the ship.
BYU continues their trip east. They lost at West Virginia. You call that one on Saturday. Now they come back to play Cincinnati 2 nights later.
West Virginia gate to wire, too. I mean, really comfortable win. Massaro had it also on Saturday. BYU, this is where the fallen hero. We saw a little bit with DeBonta kind of carrying the team, putting them on his back. But now they have lost 8 of 11. And Saunders going down in the middle of that streak. So they are really kind of on a slide entering postseason play. We've seen this where DeBonta was the number 1 recruit in the class last year, the class of 25, and he got a lot of attention when he, signed an NIL deal with BYU. He's either 1 or 2 in most people's projected board for this June's draft and things like that. But sometimes those big recruits, they could fall a little bit short. And I'm wondering if BYU has hit that wall because they are not there. It's once they started playing the halves in the Big 12, they have really struggled. So Cincinnati is a Paul Stone play. He's hot right now. It's up to 2.5, though. It was Pick'em when it opened up last night.
Illinois at home against Oregon. This game's on the Peacock at 8 o'clock. Illinois was the number 1 seed in a lot of projections for a while. They've lost to 4 out of 6 now. Probably a 2 seed right now, but maybe still a chance to get a 1 seed if they finish.
I don't think so.
No?
No. They're 2 or 3 right now. And the Ducks, Dana Altman, another good coach, have quietly covered 4 or 5. So really, really bad start for the Ducks. I mean, just getting routed left and right. But they've, I guess, they buried their point spread value so much they're covering 4 or 5. An interesting win there.
Illinois, despite losing 4 out of 6, is still number 5 in the net. And then finally,
still number 5 in the net.
Number
okay.
5. The 10 o'clock game, FS1, what do you call it, the bailout special if you're still up and moving. Number 9, Nebraska's at UCLA. And the Bruins are a favorite here.
Yeah, UNLV and Utah State is the other 10 o'clock game. So you get out specials late tonight, 7.5 hours of straight college basketball. But UCLA, unranked favorite over a ranked team. They are 16-2 at home, and their only losses, they lost by 4 to Arizona. No embarrassment there. Lost by 1 to Indiana. So here comes Nebraska and Freddie Hoiberg's Huskers to Pauley, where that stretch, you don't make that L.A. swing undefeated. Nobody's done it. I don't think Nebraska will either.
Does that stat hold up as well in college basketball as it does in football?
Because usually the unranked team is at home. 95% of the team.
It's been something we've been using a long time. The unranked team favored against the ranked.
Ranking's got to be good for something.
Yeah.
That's about it.
If you get what was it hitting in football? 65%?
Oh yeah,
or better.
Yeah.
If it hits at 65%, we can use it.
Yeah, we can take it. Don't forget our friends over at K&M Automotive on Segan Lane, 8445 Segan Lane, just off of Perkins Road. It's the only place I take my vehicle. Everything from an oil change to tires to transmission repair. Hey, AC repair. We got it all for you. It's Jason Payne's got a great reputation for giving people an honest deal, trying to find a repair, a much less costly repair option before a much more costly replace option. So you come in, he's too busy. Hey, he'll schedule more convenient time for you to come back. More convenient for you and for him. He's open 7:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Monday through Friday, 8445 Segan, just off of Perkins, across Segan from Ambrosia Bakery. The only place I take my vehicle, K&M Automotive.
Live at Doe's, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
With Ott and Hanny from Doe's Eat Place on Government Street on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
All right, let's go up to the East Coast, talk to Ace Seminara, veteran sports handicapper. College basketball is what he's specializing in right now. Ace, we got a great card tonight. This is the Tuesday night. This will be the third busiest card for Power 5, scheduling from next Thursday, which is the biggest day in college conference tournament week, and then it's Saturday because, we got more than 16 games in power leagues tonight. Let's get right to it. Let's start in the SEC. And, boy, this is for a big part of the season, Georgia was the highest scoring team in college basketball. Now Alabama is the highest scoring team. Georgia's now number 6. The first and 6th highest scoring teams in the country going at it in Athens tonight. The total is now 179.5.
Certainly Alabama's on fire, Jimmy. They've been playing fantastic. They ruined what I had as a perfect day on Saturday for my clients. Had Georgia, they beat South Carolina. Had Tennessee, unfortunately, they blew that game. 25 offensive rebounds. They were literally playing volleyball with the ball and could not score, and somehow let Alabama come back and win that game. And then we had St. Mary's late, which was a nice upset victory over Gonzaga. But, getting to this game tonight. I mean, right now in the net rankings, Alabama up to number 16, Georgia at 33. Certainly both safely in the tournament. Georgia was on the bubble there for a while, but they got that big win at home against South Carolina on Saturday. You're looking at a team right now, I think, that's still going to be scoring a lot of points, but they certainly struggled a little bit down the stretch here, Georgia. But expect them to put up a huge, huge effort at home. They got a whole bunch of guys that can score. They put up 89.7 points a game, number 6 points per game in the country, and Alabama number 1 at 92.1. This total first came out at 177. You can see it shot up to 179.5. I wouldn't be afraid of this one right now. Alabama's absolutely on fire. Whitesell with 25 points last Saturday in that big win at Tennessee. Right now, LeBaron Philon, huge basket late in the game, 21 points a game. Holloway, their backcourt is playing absolutely exceptional. They're getting contributions from everybody on their bench. Coach Oates is never going to limit anybody, and neither is Coach White for that matter. Two guys that you would love to play for that just want you to run and gun and put it up. I'd expect the winning team to score at least 100. Get this game to about 100 to 90. I think easily 190 points in this game. Let's go over that 179.5 in that first matchup, Jimmy.
Yeah, these two teams are averaging right at this, but now they're willing participants. If you watch them play, their pace of play, man, they are fine, just getting it up and down. So should be a heavy, heavy pace. Could be a lot of fun in Athens tonight. Let's go to the ACC and the Clemson Tigers. The Clemson Tigers finished their 4-game losing streak. They snapped it on Saturday by beating Louisville pretty much gate to wire in that one as a slight underdog. Now, Louisville had Mikael Brown for only 20 minutes of that one. He's expected to be out completely for tonight's game. North Carolina, their last home game before they go to Durham for the rematch in that one. North Carolina still without their star freshman, -3.5 here at home against Clemson.
They've bounced back nicely since Caleb Wilson's been out. 4 out of 5 in 5 games without him. Certainly everybody's picked it up. They had 32 points from the bench in that big win against Virginia Tech, who's a bubble team. So it was a solid win by Carolina getting that game. And let's not forget tonight's senior night there in Durham. So you know that they're going to be ready, the excitement, the emotion. Sometimes that can play both ways, Jimmy. I've been in this business long enough to know where you see these guys come out with mom and the flowers and maybe a retired member or what have you, and they just don't come out and play very well. But I fully expect Carolina right now, the way they're playing, all right, certainly getting a tremendous game from Vesser last game with 26 points, a season high. Trimble coming off of a ACC Player of the Week award. They've got it going on right now. Clemson, certainly a solid team. Big win there, getting off of that skid, as you said. But their leading scorer, Godfrey, averages 11.5 points a game. You almost have to check it twice to see that their leading scorer barely averages 11 points a game. They're a defensive team, no doubt, a tremendous defense. Number 11 in the country points against, only 65.9 points. I'm looking for a hard-fought, hard-earned victory by Carolina at home. That line was 2 yesterday when I put it in, shot up to 3.5 now. Let's buy that back down to 2. I feel more comfortable below that 3 points. But give me Carolina -2. And if I can, Jimmy, I'd like to offer all of your listeners out there, you got a lot of loyal listeners out there as we get into March, tournament games right now, Sun Belt getting underway tonight, Horizon League, Patriot League, a whole bunch of games that are going to be going on as the week gets going. I'm offering a free texting service. Text the word free picks to 631-805-6165. No hassles. You don't speak to anybody. You'll receive my top-rated daily free picks. I'm in my office super early every day. More than likely by 9 a.m. Central, your time, you'll be receiving those free picks every single day. This is the time of the year right now you certainly don't want to be playing without somebody advising you, especially, as we mentioned, you got the conferences maybe coming down to a grind, but these conference tournaments on neutral courts greatly affecting the line, and you want to be, at least on the right side of these games.
631-805-6165. Text Ace free picks to get in contact with him. Final pick for this Tuesday night unbelievable card. It is a late one, so get out special. 10 p.m. Central tip-off. You got UCLA and Nebraska, and then you have Utah State visiting UNLV. Mitch Cronin he's been bitching a lot about the travel in the Big Ten, but they have to travel to go play him also, and no team has swept that LA swing with USC and UCLA. Bruins at home, 16-2 this year. Only a 4-point loss mid-November against Arizona and a 1-point loss against Indiana. They've beaten the likes of Purdue and Illinois along the way to compiling that 16-2 home record. Here comes Nebraska, not just a ranked team underdog, but a top 10 team underdog on the road here at Pauley tonight.
One of those old adages, Jimmy, when there's something going on like that, and you've heard Lee Corso say it a lot of times, somebody must know something out west there in Vegas, because you got an unranked team here, UCLA. now finds himself on a bubble after a terrible loss at Minnesota. How did you possibly go to Minnesota and lose after the wins that they've had? So it just tells you there is no easy win on the road in the Big Ten. So UCLA went there, loses that game. Now they come home, and what I say to you is a huge, huge game for them. But one thing I got to tell you about Coach Cronin, yeah, he's been all over them. He has called them out unmercifully this year. Every time he's done that, that team has responded. So you got Nebraska now coming in. As you mentioned, nobody's pulled off that sweep of going to USC and going to UCLA back-to-back. They're trying to do that. They had that 20-0 start, now 5-4 since then. Sanford's been an absolute scoring machine, 32 points against USC. Since an injury late in the season there, they get masked back now. They're certainly going to be formidable down low. This game, I think, is going to come down to who's making threes and who's not. All right, UCLA's top three-point shooting defensive team in the Big Ten at 32%. I think they're going to be forcing Nebraska to shoot a lot of threes, and it's going to come down to simply who's stopping the threes. They need to force turnovers, UCLA. They're very good at forcing turnovers. 18.4% of the opponent possessions, they're forcing turnovers. So if they can get Nebraska to turn over the ball and limit their three-point shots, as the old saying goes, right? Somebody knows something that maybe I don't. Why is UCLA favored in that game? They're begging you to bet in Nebraska. I'm not going to take that bait. Give me the Bruins in what's got to be a huge, huge game for them. They've had a couple of big wins already. Wouldn't be shocked to see them do it again. And again, Jimmy, have all your callers. Anybody that wants free advice, free personal advice from somebody that's seen more college basketball games in their lives than you can even imagine. Just text the word free picks to 631-805. 6165. You're on board. You're getting my free top-rated picks every single day, and I can help you throughout the month of March. Just a great, great time of the year. I feel like a kid in a candy store right now, Jim.
Watch the game on Saturday with UCLA at Minnesota, and the way they beat them was, well, they shot over 52% from the three-point line, shot 90% from the free throw line, shot 58% on the whole from the floor that afternoon.
Unheard of.
Yeah, so that's not exactly sustainable. So a tough loss. I watched it and I was like, man, Minnesota's on fire. And UCLA was on fire and took a lead, and it went over the total pretty easily in that one by about 15 points. Again, free picks 631-805-6165. Our buddy Ace Seminary. Ace, we appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to give out some free picks on the show today. Good luck to you tonight, my man.
Best of luck, Jimmy. Speak to you on Friday. Have a great week.
All right. There's a Seminara calling in with his free picks. We are over here at Dozy Place. Don't forget our lunch menu that's available with the sandwiches, the burgers, the plate lunches, the salads that you can all do over here at Dozy Place. And all come with generous portions and the best fries in town, man. Fresh hand-cut fries that are really, really outstanding. So 11 a.m. to 2 p.m., our lunch menu, the only time it is available. These lunch menu items, including those plate lunches, like the spaghetti and meatballs, the chicken fried steak, or the hamburger steak, is not available for dinner at dinner time. So come on over here and see us at Doe's. Don't forget, tomorrow we're over at Modesto on Burbank, near campus, getting ready for LSU baseball as well. So Modesto on Burbank for tomorrow's show.
Live at Dozy Place here in Mid-City, live at Lunch 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at Lunch with Ott and Hanny from Doe's Eat Place on Government Street on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Jets put the franchise tag on Breece Hall this morning. Deadline is 3 o'clock this afternoon to franchise tag players. There had been a little bit of chatter about the Saints, and Hall didn't get very far. Jets weren't going to let him go, so he is on a non-exclusive franchise tag. Kentucky Athletic Director Mitch Barnhart getting ready to announce his retirement. 24 years at UK. And, Jimmy, how close do you think he came to being the AD at LSU?
I don't know exactly how close.
A decent chance.
He was in the mix.
Yeah.
He was in the mix, yeah.
When they were looking to replace Joe Dean, Mark Emmert, Mitch Barnhart was his choice. And he was at Oregon State at the time, but he had some other experience, and that was Mark Emmert's choice. But the Board of Supervisors was more on Doug Morrow. Of course, Doug was the AD, the DA, and was, possibly going to change careers and go over and run the athletic department. And it kind of came to an impasse. Skip Bertman was the choice that everybody could agree on.
With Skip and Radakovich.
No, this was when Joe Dean was Radakovich was on the staff, but when they were replacing Joe Dean as the AD,
I thought they hired but Skip to kind of basically do the. It was just Skip by himself. There wasn't sort of co-ADs.
No, Skip was the AD. Now Radakovich was on that staff.
That way. Okay.
Yeah, Radakovich handled a lot of the. He did scheduling
because he administrative, athletic administrative experience, and Skip had the coaching experience, and Skip also was a popular figure within the LSU fan base who was going to have to smooth over the new ticket policy.
And they brought Herb Vincent back. If you remember, he had left his SID, but he came back. He was in the administration. He was a liaison between the athletic department and the school. So yeah, he was staffed. Verge was on the staff at that point.
I just remember Radakovich and him kind of being the I don't know.
Well, Radakovich did a lot of stuff. He handled football scheduling was the biggest thing. Was the most publicized thing. Barnhart had a good run at Kentucky, I guess.
Yeah, he did.
He hired Calipari. That was a national championship and 3 Final Fours. He hired Stoops, who I know it didn't end well, but had a very nice run.
A really good run.
Winningest coach in Kentucky history.
Yes.
Now, again.
No, well, that's your resources. Your history is your resources, pretty much.
Yeah. So he had a number of guys that were on his staff that ended up being AD somewhere else. John Cohen is now at Auburn. Scott Strickland, who was at Mississippi State, is now at Florida. They all worked for Barnhart. So he had a good run at UK.
And the fan base is ready to see him going because the athletic director is a thankless position, brother.
There is no question. Every athletic director I've ever met, whenever they here's my advice to you. Reconnect with your family and close friends because a year from now, 2 years from now, you're going to be the most unpopular person. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I mean,
you will get no credit and all the blame. Did they win a championship? Stay out of the picture. You had nothing to do with it. But if they lose, it's your fault. You hired the coach. Thanks to Doe's Eat Place for being our host as they are every other Tuesday. Tomorrow we will be at Modesto. Enjoy the big college basketball card tonight. We'll be talking about that tomorrow. Randy McKay will be with us, Wes Reynolds, Scott Rabelais, and also LSU will be on their way to Lafayette to take on the Raging Cajuns in baseball tomorrow night. From all of us here at Doe's, Jordan back in the studio. Have a great day, everybody, and stay tuned for Hunt on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.